What's up, fellas? I'm just going to play for a minute while people come on. And for the people that are watching the recording, they can just hear the amp for a minute before they got to listen to my silly voice. There it is, the beginning of the show clinker. Hoss Thompson, hey buddy, how are you, man? Good to see you. Slop. What's going on, my friends? It's, what is today? Thursday, April 2nd. Not April Fool's Day anymore, April 2nd. So I have the Marquee here. This one's actually sold. But I thought I can't get it out right away, so we're going to play it for another day. I have another one. I'm on the fence about keeping it because I like this one so much. I kind of think, man, this is pretty useful. Put the master voltage on it. I haven't yet, but if we did, I know this particular amp responds really well to the master voltage. Like the distortion is just chewy and rich. That's going in. If I just run like rat pedal. I have it on very lightly. It's not, you know. Here's the tip, fellas. When you're using distortion pedals, use them lightly. I literally have the distortion knob on this at like 8 o'clock on the dial. It's barely on. But it makes, you know, here it is without it, right? Amp sounds great. Totally stands on its own. If you want to just give it a lift. That's the rat, and then this is a clone. You get the idea. Like if you use them lightly, they're very musical. Oh, thanks, Hoss. That's some lovely cranky goodness right there. Yeah, this amp is. It was kind of funny when we made this originally. We were really happy with it, and I think I told the story about how life just kind of got in the way when we were trying to release it, and we never made enough of them to have extra ones. So every one we made sold instantly. I think we might have only made about 50 of these. And most people who have them will not get rid of them. But that's just EL84 love right there. So if you come from a tonal palette of AC30s, Matchless 65, you know, stuff like that, this is right in there. That's good EL84 tone. And these are brand new EL84s. These are JJ's. I just got them last week. From Marty over at ARS in Van Nuys. If you guys need tubes, call ARS Electronics in Van Nuys. Talk to Marty, who's really nice. and very honorable and honest about his tubes. Use my name, tell him I sent you, he'll give you a little deal. But it's ARS, the letters ARS in Van Nuys, California. Anyway, so we're back here with the Marquee Club again. I'm just playing a Les Paul right now. I'm thinking about grabbing my old white Strat that you guys know. Changing the pickups in that guitar. I've had Lawler Dirty Blondes in it for, I think, 18 years. And I think I'm going to put Brown Ellis 64s in it. This might be the swan song for the Lawler pickups, which have served me really well, and I really like them. I just don't have I either need to buy another Strat or I got to switch pickups out for fun. And so right now, what I can afford to do is to switch pickups. So this is no pedals now. I mean, I got echo on. And just a light echo, so it doesn't sound like I'm in a can, you know. Rob Price, thank you, sir. As I said before, it's most likely my favorite amp model. Yeah, man, it's good. So I think what we're going to do, and Rob, you can help me out since you have one of these. One of the things we wrestled with when we were designing it was to whether to have two discrete channels or to make it channel switching. As I mentioned before, at the time, most of our customer base were pros. And back then, people had very different pedal boards than they have now. Hey, Charles, did you see the Dumble on Reverb for a $250,000? Yeah, no. You know what? God bless those guys. That's not my thing. Dumbles are great amps. But that money is ridiculous. It's, you know, $250,000. You can go buy a house in parts of the country. I'm not gonna do that. But I think people buy them for investments. They don't really buy them to play them anymore. They just buy them because they go up in value. Yeah, I agree, Charles. I don't get it at all. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Pickups. Ron Alice has these sets. Request from the back of the bus. If you get a chance, can we get some Gretsch and Rickenbacker through? Yeah, sure. I did some of that last week. Oh, avoid the brown acid. Yeah, Woodstock, baby. Yeah, let's do that right now. I played the Gretsch and the Ricky last week, and they sounded great, but I'm happy to do it again. I particularly had fun with the Rickenbacker. I thought Little Ricky was sweet in this amp. Let's start there. Now let's do Gretsch. You're a Gretsch guy, Haas. Let's go Gretsch. My English friends always love to hear the Beatle guitars. And I'm kind of the same way. I think they still have ridiculously relevant and good tone. This guitar got a little dusty, ain't it, right? That ain't good. Homie don't play that. I usually try to keep them all covered on the rack, but I guess I didn't. Let's get some of this dust off of here. But anyway, my time in England was really influential for me. And also all the cool 60s English stuff and Beatle guitars were cheap. Because when I was there, everybody wanted really high gain stuff. They wanted guitars with Floyd Roses on them. You know, stuff like that, which is not really. At the time, I couldn't believe it. Like, I think you guys remember I had it on the show. I had a 64 AC30 that I sold to David Cobb. But I bought that in England. Actually, I bought it in Scotland. I bought it from the original owner's son. It was a 64 AC30, looked brand new. And the story was a Bigsby. Sorry, I got to dig with it for a minute. But get a Bigsby to balance and it'll stay in tune. But anyway, so it's like a friend of a friend said, hey, I got a buddy up in Scotland whose father passed away. And he's got an AC30 for sale. And I know you like that old shit. I'm like, well, yes, I do. Oh, I'm still on standby here. That's why. So anyway, I called the guy up in Scotland, and this is back in the days when long distance calls cost money, right? And I talked to the guy. It was a really interesting story. He said, you're going to love it because a guitar has never been played through it. Well, what does that mean? How can that be possible? Rob says, I mean, channel switching, I need to use an effects loop. I got you. Yeah, that's a good point, Rob. Thank you. Anyway, so I called the guy and he goes, so my dad bought this amp in 1964 new. And what he liked to do with it was plug his accordion into it. Yes, he had an electric accordion or accordion with a pickup in it. And play it through there so he can jam along with the hi-fi. Because it's been on a lot, but a guitar was never run through it. So. Let's go a little cleaner for you, Hoss, so you can hear some Gretsch twang. Anyway, I bought the AC30 for the astonishing high price of 300 pounds, which at the time I could find beat up AC30s, good ones, like JMI AC30s, in London for 175 pounds, 200 pounds. But the story was so cool, and then, this is before the internet, so I just had to take his word for it. So I decided to drive up there on a Saturday morning, got up really early. The amp was just outside of Edinburgh, and I drove up there, and sure enough, it just looked brand new. I didn't even care if it worked because I knew I could make it work. But he didn't have a guitar, to play into it. I just took his word. It turned on, Dang guitars. Time for fresh strings, I think. But anyway, that was a killer guitar. I mean, killer amp. And I kept it up until the recession, actually. Dave Cobb, when he was living here, was borrowing it all the time to record with. And he was just begging, come on, man, sell me the... Sell me the amp, I really need it. I'm like, you can just borrow it, man. It's okay, you don't live very far. I'm down to like volume's on 2 now. Rob, you lived over there too, huh? Yeah, I was there in 90 to 92. Yeah, Dave Cobb did really well. He was making a lot of money during the recession. He was just starting to get his legs. We traded a lot of gear. I mean, I've known Cobb since he was a little kid. He's from Atlanta, right? So Peter and I used to work at a music store in Atlanta called Rhythm City, and it became Guitar Center. The store now is out on Jimmy Carter Boulevard off 285, but the original store where we worked was in Buckhead, which is like the Beverly Hills of Atlanta, right down the street from the governor's mansion. And this guy named Dave Cobb used to come. He was a kid. I think he was 15. Dave Cobb used to always come in and harassed the hell out of Peter Stroud. Show me how to play this. Show me how to play that. You know, he's like ninth grade. He just loved Peter for some reason, as we all do. Anyone that meets Peter loves him. But anyway, so fast forward to about 2004, 2003. Peter calls me. I mean, it tell you the significance of Dave Cobb, right? So Atlanta is at the confluence of a few counties. On the north side of Atlanta, you are in Cobb County, named after his great-great-great-great-grandpappy, Colonel General Beauregard and Henry Cobb the 14th or something. I'm kidding. He's one of the descendants of the Cobbs, right? So, and so when he would come into the store, everybody would be really nice to him because he was a Cobb. I, being from Missouri, had no idea who a Cobb was. Like, who's this annoying little shit? But anyway, so fast forward 2003, 2004, Peter calls and goes, hey, man, you remember Dave Cobb? And I go, no, I don't. Who, Dave? You remember that guy? He was a kid. He was like ninth grade, 10th grade. He used to always come into Rhythm City and, you know, always wanted me to play guitar for him. I go, oh, yeah, I remember. Right, I got it now. It's back, David Cobb. Well, David Cobb's a record producer now, and he's renting out Sunset Sound. He's resident. I mean, he rented the whole building. Like, crap, he must be doing really well. And he had a house over here in Silver Lake where he had recreated RCA number 2 in Nashville to the millimeter. And he was doing all the outlaw country stuff here in LA. And he did so much, he finally just said, screw it, I'll move to Nashville. But I go over there and there's Shooter Jennings or Jason Isbell or who's the other guy? I'm blanking on his name now. Anyway, Cobb was, it was a great place to store extra gear. So I knew he was going to take really good care of it, and it ended up on records, and he would send me copies of the recordings. It sounded great. So anyway, he finally talked me out of that AC-30, and I sold it to him for way more than 300 pounds. And then he ended up selling it to, this Latin American producer, Raphael, I'm blanking on his last name now, but he wins Grammys every year. The guy's huge. And we're all friends. I see him, wish him happy birthday, and go, hey, can I buy that amp? But it was a 64 integrated top boost. Funny thing, it was all original. You could tell nothing had been changed. But it had a... It had a Haddon power transformer, a radio spares choke, and a Woden output transformer. And about 70% of the caps were WEMA caps, and the other 30% were mustard caps. So it was a transition time where they're, you know, the way Vox worked, I think I've told this before, but stop me if I'm boring the hell out of it. The way Vox worked was they had 5 subcontractors. They didn't build their amps in-house at all. They were all built by contract manufacturers. And they had like 3 that were their mainline, you know, manufacturers. And then when they got busy, they had 2 spillover ones. So the way it worked, they would give them a bill of materials and say, buy this stuff. And they gave them alternatives. You can't find this, use this, right? And so some of the smaller houses would have stuff left over. You know, so when the orders would come in, they still had these old Haddon power transformers from 2 years ago. And they still had WEMA caps on the shelf when all the new stuff was mostly mustard caps. So mine was built by one of those spillover houses, and the radio spares choke was just a spare. Literally, radio spares is the British equivalent of Radio Shack, right? So they probably had no chokes, and literally just got on the phone with Radio Spares and said, send us over some 8 Henry chokes, you know, and that's what's in there. It was all dead original. According to the guy's son, the guy bought it brand new, set it in his living room next to his hi-fi, and it never moved. Friend, I bought it in 1991, I think, 91, yeah. So at that point, it was a 64, so it was 25 years old. It wasn't that old. But no signs of wear at all, no scuffs. Looked like a reissue. It did not look that good by the time I sold it to Dave Cobb, though. You like JMI Talk, Haas? Well, you know, I worked with Jim Elliott on that book. Mike Franciscini and I both did for a long time, you know, the history of JMI Vox. Man, did I learn a lot about Vox. So one of the things Jim did is he went over there to Dartford, where their factory was, and when they were shutting everything down, this is in the 90s, he bought everything, all their file cabinets, all their records. They didn't even have computers, right? It was, but all of their files going back for decades. And it took a lot, like a shipping container, to get it over here. And he had everything. It was crazy. He had all the notes, all the hand-drawn schematics, all the orders, all their books, you know, over the years, so you could tell what the production levels were and who was making their stuff. And it was really cool. So I dove in deep with Jim on that because he knew that I had a little unusual love for Vox amps. JMI boxes. I mean, there's later ones are good, but you know, proper, and honestly, out of the JMIs, for me, it's 64. 64 is the pinnacle. 65s are great, but they had already sold the company to Royston Group at that point. So they had people coming in. Things were slowly changing. But 64 is when it was just Dick Denny, Tom Jennings, and Derek Underdown, who was their head engineer. That was the original Vox mojo. You know, it's really good. And I think I showed you pictures. I got to be good friends with Derek Underdown. He came over for the release of the book. And at the time, I think he was like 78 or 80 or something like that. Yes, Spruce Creek Traders. I do have an answer for that. Give me just a second. That's a good question. Thank you. I love going deep on Vox nerddom. Anyway, Jim called me and goes, "Hey, man, so I'm trying to get ready for the party. And I have Derek Underdown here, who's like 80 years old and he's English. And Jim's from Texas, right? That's all right, Basil, you haven't missed much. So would you lived in England, would you mind taking care of him for the day while we get set up?" And I'm, "Oh, of course." So I went and got some PG tips and a kettle, made proper tea over at the shop, and with good fresh milk. And then we went out to eat lunch at the Fox and Hound pub in Studio City, and he was really happy. He was, "Oh man, fish and chips and some beer just sounds great. I've been traveling. I'm really tired." So we had a couple of pints and some fish and chips, and it was, and some peas, and he was set back to being a happy old Englishman. But anyway, we were working on Little Elvis at the time. And he loved it, man. He took off his jacket, rolled up his sleeves, and worked with us for 2 whole days and explained all the crazy stuff that was in the prototype we were kind of ripping off. Not copying, but kind of ripping off. So I learned from him a lot about Vox, a lot about amp production. He taught me a lot of things that I would have never thought of, about being efficient and not wasting money and taking care of your dealers and all that kind of stuff. Haas, you have a 63. Okay. Is it a cherry panel or a gray panel? 63s are great. I just like the 64s just a hair better. And for no particular reason other than my experience with 64s has been a little better. Anyway, so Spruce Creek Traders, do you have a favorite out of the different brands of OT they use? Yeah, for me, it's Woden. So what you have there are Haddon, the first ones were Albions. That was the original, like when you see the Fawn AC30s, those are usually Albions, which Albion is the ancient name for the island of Great Britain, right? The goddess Albion, I think. And then after Albion, there was Haddon. And then after Haddon was Woden. And then after Woden was Parmico. So let me tell you what those are all about. So each one had successively, easy for me to say, successively more windings on them, a little better made. But the Albions, the Haddons, and the Wodens were all hand wound transformers. So once the Beatles kind of hit, Woden could not keep up with demand. So they started using Parmicos, which are machine wound. Those are the ones that are really, really bright. Machine wound transformers are a little brighter. But when you hear certain Vox amps, you go, whoa, that thing is bright. I guarantee, copper panel, non-top boost, but it's, oh yeah, that's a great amp, man. I would say, wouldn't I? Yeah, no, cherry panels are great. I love the coppers. Great amp, nothing wrong with it. I just like nasty AC30s. So for my 64, it's just a dirty little raunchy amp, and I love it. But anyway, so the Parmicos are the really bright transformers. So once the Beatles hit, I heard this directly from Derek. He said once the Beatles came to America, February of 64, the demand for Vox amps went through the roof. They had all 5 of their production houses running 3 shifts. Like just they couldn't make enough amps. They couldn't get enough parts. So that's why you see the caps inside switch from Wema caps to mustard caps, because the mustard caps were more available. I think they came from Czechoslovakia or something back then. Czech Republic now. Oh yeah, baby. Gretchy good. So my personal favorite are Woden output transformers. So Haas, your 63 most likely has Woden transformers in it already. 63, because the production numbers were lower, probably all your transformers match. So you probably have a Woden. If you want to take a picture, I'll tell you. If you can take a quick picture of the inside, I'll tell you what's in there. You probably have Woden power transformer, choke, and output transformer. Mine was a mutt, and I don't know what was up, but man, did it sound good. Till I belong to you. Since you left me alone. Now I'm coming. You know, actually at full voiceover microphone, I can sort of kind of sing. If you put enough echo and double my voice, it doesn't sound that bad. But right here, it sounds like, what's the word I'm looking for? Ass. So, yeah, that's some serious Vox queer nation right there. Man, I love good Voxes. AC-15s, AC-30s. I had 2 AC-50s at one point. I had a tube rectified AC-50 and a solid state rectified AC-50. I was so deep into Voxes, I couldn't control myself. So it was a 64 AC-50 and a 65 AC-50. 64 was the first AC-50s. And they didn't sell them in stores. They made them for the Beatles, and they made them for other pros. So it could have been a Beatle amp. And I also have a neighbor. I should have kept it. I had an AC-100, and I sold it to him. It was a 65, and they made the AC-100s for their tour. They didn't sell those in stores. Those were just for pros. And holy shit, was this thing loud! I mean. Kind of a hand grenade though. It liked to pop grid resistors and stuff. But man, it was so loud. It was crazy. So my buddy bought it to play bass through it. And it sounds really good. Change a couple of caps, give it some more frequency, low frequency, and maximize whatever that output transformer will do as low as it will go. Sounded amazing. But I had 2 AC-50s, and a guy that you all know, Tim Pierce, used to come over to our shop and hang out. And just play guitar. When I had the old shop, with the jam setup, with a PA and drums and amps and mics and everything, Tim Pierce used to come over and just get a coffee and hang out for a while. And one day he was over there, and what's that? And I go, oh, it's an AC50. And I said, I actually have two of them. And you want to compare them side by side, he was interested in buying one of them. And I said, why don't you play both and see what you like? You know, if you like the solid state rectified one, it's definitely more Marshall-y feeling. But the tube rectified one's a little softer, a little chewier. They both get excellent distortion. The 65, I take it back. So the 64, I don't know where that came from, but the 65, I bought it from the widow of Lonesome Dave. Remember Foghat? Hey, Randy, how are you, buddy? I'm well and thriving. Thank you, sir. I thought for a minute you said, hope you're well and thinking. I'm doing that too. But Lonesome Dave, you know, the guitar player, singer in Foghat, remember Foghat, Slow Ride in the 70s. It was his amp. And I'm from Missouri, and he ended up living in Kansas City. And some friend of mine went, hey, Lonesome Dave's AC50's for sale in Kansas City. Would you be interested? I went, yeah, of course. So he went and picked it up for me. And damn, if it didn't sound good. I put some new tubes in it. It's a pair of VL34s, right? It's basically what the original AC30 was. Like the very first AC30s were a pair of VL34s, like 62, but they were low powered. They were low voltage. They weren't really loud amps, 35 watts, something like that. This was a full-on 50-watt amp. Higher voltage and really nice sound. I really liked it. And it had Woden transformers. Actually, the 64 and the 65 had Woden transformers. Oh, you're welcome, man. I'm glad to share them. I find them really interesting. I have such a love for old amps, and then getting to know Derek Underdown, we ended up talking a lot. He was my mentor. In a sense, I could write him all I wanted. And thanks, Jamie. I could write him. Let's go Rickenbacker while we're talking about England and all this good stuff. Hang on one second. You know what? Let's do a Rickenbacker. Let's get the white Strat out. God dang it! What's going on here? Sorry, guys. Hold on. I'm a little unorganized. It's because I'm a guitar player. I haven't played this guitar in a long time, so I'm sure the strings are dead and really far out of tune. So bear with me here for a second. And if I could get the cable in the hole, that'd be nice. Tim Pierce is really nice, like astonishingly nice person. To tell a secret, I thought he was gay until I met his wife. Because he's so nice. Straight dudes aren't that nice. I know it's 2026. You're not supposed to say that stuff. No ambidextrous Dan today in a Strat. So yeah, these pickups are Jason Lawler's Dirty Blonde. And I love them. I have no reason to change them other than I really want to play. It's working. I just want to try Ron 64s. I've heard them in other guitars, and man, these things sound good. They sound very different than these pickups. And I don't have money just to buy another Strat. So I'm going to swap it out. What I'm going to do is just do a new pick guard. I'm going to leave this pick guard completely intact, and I have another pick guard over here. All wired up with pots and everything. I just got to put the pickups in, and then it's a 2-wire swap out at the jack, right? Ben Silverman, Tim doesn't have enough amps. Yeah, if you look on his show, sometimes one of those AC50s will be there behind him. Anyway, to the end of that story, he played them both. And I can't remember which one he bought first, but he ended up coming back later and saying, "Hey, can I have the other one too?" Oh, yeah, sure. And he played them on his web show for a long time. But Tim is so nice. I literally. The thing that's funny about Tim is, like, I don't really know him that well. I mean, we're acquaintances, low-level friends, I guess. I have his phone number, he has mine, that kind of thing. But if I called him up right now on speakerphone, you guys would hear him go, "Hey, Dan, how you been, man?" He's so cool and so friendly and nice and always kind and generous and thoughtful. Like, I think since it's the week of Passover and Easter, as our Hebrew brothers would say, Tim's a real mensch. He is a real mensch. He's a great dude. Really great dude. Enjoy him quite a bit. Man, you got to come over here and just be on the show with me. I think Strats would be better used as a bat in cricket. But that Strat with this amp has changed my mind. Well, yeah, man. When I'm playing the same nonsense, I play simple stuff because I want you guys to hear the amp, not me. It's not like I can sit and shred and impress you anyway, but I just want you to get an idea of the palette of the amplifier. I'm really not here to entertain you so much. If you want me to, I can start telling really inappropriate jokes, but yeah, so I turn this down a little bit. I haven't gone to the other channel yet. Come on, baby, go with me. What is it? Baby, let's go to the cabin down the road. Why don't you like Strats? Yeah, these pickups sound great. I wish I had another guitar. So that green Strat, I have Ron Ellis's 57 pickups in there. They sound crazy. On my Elliott Strat, I have a Ron Ellis humbucker, and I want to put, two of the 64s maybe in there as well. You can do that. Hoss says, I appreciate it, dude. I saw some gear demo the other day, and at the end, I still had no idea what the guitar sounded like. It was treble pickup, whittle. Yeah. So that's just an opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. A huge asterisk over my head, right? But when I watch a gear thing, when some guy's just shredding his ass off, it's suspicious to me. Because there's certain guys that are going to sound great playing anything. Um, and if they're ripping and ripping and ripping and ripping, you never really get a chance to hear what the amp does. Because for 99% of all songs, you're not ripping. You're just playing chords, right? So that's what I want to hear. If you want to hear my soloing ability, you got to come see me play in a band. I'm not the best at just sitting here and soloing by myself. But I'm pretty good at fitting in with a groove. Rob Price says, the first time I met him, he popped by my friend Pat's house with a Godin nylon string and a rolling guitar synth and said that he and his wife were heading out of town for the weekend, and since he couldn't try it out, figured my friend Pat would want to. Well, that's nice. This is Tim we're talking about still? Very much a Tim thing. So I'm turning a little clon on with this. It's a weird lick. Don't ask me about the shape I'm in. I ain't pretty. Something in my legs. Then there's so many. There's live versions of that I like better. There's a live version where he says, "Don't ask me about the shape I'm in. I can't sing. I can't dance, and my legs are thin." That's one that's stuck in my head, and I know that's not the one on the studio. So that's with a little clown pedal over it. Let's do a little rat pedal. Just because for me, the clown and the rat are the two. I mean, I guess a tube screamer would be a good one, but I like tube screamers mostly with them. Hi, Darla. I got a dog here. I like tube screamers mostly with Fender amps. But what's up, sweetie? You want to come up here and say hi? Want to come up here? Want to come up and say hi to everybody? Sweet Darla. Darla's our newest rescue. And she's becoming a sweet, sweet, sweet dog. Very well behaved, very smart, very athletic, very friendly. She comes and needs a little reassurance. Yeah, you're going to say her to lay down at my feet? Okay, we can do that. Hi, Mama. Oh, I see. I wish you could get up here on camera. And there's Trip, my other dog. These are my two good dogs here. We have two more. Sweetie Mama. Ah, yeah, this is Darla. Oh, hi, do you want to play too? Hi, Darls. Yes, you're a good mama. Yes, you are a good mama dog. Is Trip getting in your way? Or you just want to stay up here enjoying the show? You can stay here, it's fine, I don't mind. These guys like dogs. It's cool. What about you, Trip? You gonna jump up here too? Sorry, guys, I got a dog problem. Anyway, that's right, Spruce Creek. I don't know how anybody lives without a dog. I couldn't. I got border collies, which are kind of dogs plus, right? You know, they're a lot of dog and they take a lot of attention, but man, it's so worth it. They're so cool and so smart. Like, I don't need a leash or anything when I go out with them. It's fine. So you guys are going to have to sit still while I play guitar, okay? Can we do that? Good. Thank you for sitting. Nice dogs. They both just sat down. Good dogs. Okay, can you hang out with me for a little bit? Let's see. Let's do this a little bit. That's too much distortion. Let's get a little more distortion out of the amp. Yeah, the Nobles is a really nice old pedal too. Yeah, I remember when I first started the company, all my Nashville guys are using Nobles. Now, you better go get one. And so I did. I bought a Nobles, and it sounded great. It worked really good. I ended up selling it. Yeah, Hoss, we need to get you a Strat, buddy. I cannot play like Hendrix, but I like to play Hendrix songs. If I could play like Hendrix, I'd be in a much different place in life. But this gets that sound. You're getting close, even though it's EL84s, right? Well, that is why. Actually, that's done on the neck picker. You can't hold me down. Stone free. Got to get away. Oh, darling, sorry. I didn't mean to kick you. You're fine, honey. Strats, man. Man, time flies when you're talking about Vox amps and playing fun guitars, doesn't it? I got about 10 minutes left. I got to run. I have an appointment after the show that I need to get to. But, so what do you guys want? You want to hear a different guitar? You want to talk about some certain subjects? I know, like, the world is an insane place right now, so. And there's one of my old cats. You guys ever had a cat with cat dementia? That's what it sounds like. Mac, come here, buddy. Mac. Mac, what are you doing, man? Mac. Oh, I know. He's almost 17 years old. Hoss Thompson says, Strats just feel weird to me. I don't know. None of the controls where they should be. It takes a minute to get used to. It's also a different scale than a Gibson. It's a longer scale. I like using them on records, but live I can't do it. Mind you, I struggle with flying V's too. Yeah, I find flying V's to be very awkward, uncomfortable guitars. They're basically just Les Pauls with a different body on them, but you can't sit down and play a flying V, which sucks. Really funny story too. When I went to MI, I hope these guys are not listening because I don't want to embarrass them. But here we go. I went to MI 86 and 87, right? And there were two guys, and I think they were from Iowa. And God bless their hearts. Anyway, so they came to LA. They kind of got intoxicated with the whole Sunset Strip thing that was going on. And that, mind you, that was the peak of the Sunset Strip. Like literally they blocked it off on the weekends. You couldn't drive through there. It was like going to Mardi Gras every Friday and Saturday night. Michael, I would not buy that amp. Um, okay, who's licking? Let's stop that. No licking. Um, Michael, let me answer that question in a second. So they went and bought Flying V's at Guitar Center. Now, mind you, when you go to Musicians Institute, you're practicing at least 10 hours a day. It's a lot of work. It's a tough school. Back then, this is when Howard Roberts owned it, not when ESP and those people bought it. Afterwards, this was the original one where it was the Wrecking Crew. It was their clubhouse. All the people in the Wrecking Crew were there. Tommy Tedesco, Howard Roberts, Glenn Campbell was there all the time. Drummers all the way from Joe Picaro to Jeff Picaro. Jeff Berlin playing bass, Don Mock, Joe DiOrio, what's his name? Chord Melody guy. Why am I blanking on his name? Anyway, it was an amazing school. And they went and got Flying V's. So they didn't stop there. They went and bought Flying V's at Guitar Center on Sunset, the one with the rock block with the hands and feet and cement and all that stuff. They went down the street and got tattoos of Flying V's on their shoulders. And like 2 weeks later, they were like, this is the worst possible guitar ever for going to this school because you can't sit down and play it. And if you do, it has to be like cocked up like this, and it's not. And these poor guys, I felt so sorry for them. They blew all their money on Flying V's, and it was a mistake. And anyway, they ended up getting Strats, I think. They ended up just getting a couple of nice Strats and getting through. But yeah, it's crazy stuff. Anyway, so Michael Branson, let me read this correctly. I was checking out a custom hand-wired amp at a local guitar shop. 1 week I went in, the amp was awesome. Went back 2 weeks later, and the amp had blown a fuse. It was set at 16 ohms and plugged into a 4 ohm 410. Yeah, that's not good. The output transformer might not be happy. Put a fuse in it and put the correct load on it and see what happens. So basic transformer rule of thumb is you can overload an output transformer. So like if that transformer was set to 4 ohms and it was going into a 16 ohm cabinet, that's fine. But the reverse isn't good. They get really hot. I don't want to move my dog, so I'm going to bring my microphone over here so you can hear me a little better. They get hot. They're expecting a certain amount of resistance. And when it doesn't have it, they end up just overloading and over pushing, So there's a balance that you set with your output transformer. So if you have an 8 ohm speaker, or I prefer 16 ohms, if you have that done, that output transformer is expecting that much pushback. And when it doesn't get it, it just falls over, and it gets hot because there's electricity just flying through it that shouldn't be. So yeah, hopefully the amp is not ruined. Whoever set it at 16 ohms and plugged it into a 410 cabinet should be fired from that music store. Or whoever was managing the floor that day should be fired for letting that happen. I used to manage a music store. And man, you got to have a basic common sense understanding of amplifiers and guitars to run a music store. One of them is you don't do that stupid nonsense. Yeah, you can't underload an output transformer. It will get hot. And if you do it long enough, it can short out. And that may be what happened. It might have also just gone thermal and quit working. And the fuse blew, and then once it cools off, it might work okay. I won't ask you who the name of the amp maker was because it doesn't matter. But it does matter what kind of transformers they're using. So if they're using like high-end, like Mercury's or Habor's or Pacific, stuff like that, they're probably fine. Might be damaged, might be a little diminished, but probably fine. If they're cheap, overseas made machine wound transformers, maybe not. Does that make sense, Michael? 412, that's what I thought. Really too bad. High watt EL34 clone, beautiful design. Yeah, that's a shame. That's a real shame. I hope it's okay. Um, Reinhardt. Oh yeah, I know Reinhardt. Yeah, they make good amps. I know he knows what he's doing. Been around for a while. Um, so yeah, that's not a design problem. That's a user error there. So um, I'm sorry that happened. That's no fun, and I'm sure the store owner is unhappy about it too. So the thing to do again is find the same value fuse that goes in there, replace it, and stick it into a proper load. Now, my personal preference is all British amps, especially, should be on a 16 ohm setting. And if you look, Marshall, all their amps are 16 ohms. They only have an 8 ohm switch for if you hook up two 412 cabinets, because all their cabinets are 16 ohms. Vox never made an amp that wasn't 16 ohms. Even their extension cabinets were all 16 ohm cabinets. And there's a reason for that. I wish I had an output transformer here I could show you. Maybe next time I'll bring one. I have a couple laying around here. Um, uh, so the way an output transformer works is there's a stack, of steel, and there's a bobbin in the middle with copper windings around it. So if this is the bobbin, right, at 4 ohms, you're only using this much of the wind. At 8 ohms, you're using a little over half. And at 16 ohms, you're at the top, using all the windings. The more windings, the better it sounds. Now, people go, oh, that's much more resistance. It's like 16 feathers versus 4 feathers. We're talking about ohms, not kilo ohms or mega ohms here, K or meg. We're talking about ohms. So effectively, electronics are so sensitive that it will feel the difference between 4 ohms and 8 ohms and 16 ohms. You will not. The amp will not be louder at 4 ohms than it is at 16. There's a lot of mythology. And it makes sense if you're just guessing, kind of using basic logic, that would make sense, but it just doesn't work that way. A 4 ohm amp is no more loud than a 16 ohm amp. So a lot of times, though, if your amp is making some kind of ratty, sandy, grainy noises on the high end, dropping it down to the 8 ohm tap or the 4 ohm tap will make it sound better because it kind of masks the misbehaviors going on. 16 ohms is very unforgiving, and you have to get it right. Trip, stop. Hey, stop that. What are you doing, man? Don't sit here and lick yourself. Can't do that. Got dogs licking things here. We can't do that. So, and the guys will bend over backwards to tell you why. And when you really drill down on it, they do it because Leo Fender did it. Or they did it because some other amp manufacturer. They don't really know why. I know why all the good British amps are at 16 ohms. Because they sound better. You get more of the, here comes vocabulary, my favorite word. You get more vocabulary out of the amp when you do that. More dynamic range, more tonal range, everything. So 16 ohms is where you want to be. So high watts, if it's a high watt clone, high watt cabinets are all 16 ohm cabinets too. So that should be Partridge on the high watt. That's right. So that's what the amp that Scotty Bratcher has. It's basically a Dumble. I didn't think about that when we made it, but it's a Showman with EL34s in it and Partridge high watt style transformers. So it's not meant to sound like a Showman, but the circuit is a Showman with a couple of changes on it. There's some additions to it. But then you throw in those high watt Partridge transformers and good God, thump, bang, bang, bang. Those are big, stout transformers that use a whole lot of electricity. They're really great. That's why high watts are so big and strong. Because those big ass transformers in there, and they're fun. I like them. But yes, Spruce Creek, you are correct. Partridge in a high watt. I think there's some other ones in there occasionally, but 90% of them are Partridge. And they're big sons of guns. They're big as your head. Not as big as my head, because my skull is enormous, but how big is a normal person's head? Anyway, so it's 1 o'clock here on the West Coast. Do you guys? I can keep going if you guys have stuff you want to talk about. But I do kind of got to run. I got to be somewhere around 1:30, and I haven't eaten lunch or anything. But I always got time for you. If that makes sense. So, anything on your mind? Anything you want to discuss? Any burning questions for Dan Boul at 65 amps? Oh, what's going on with 65 amps, by the way? I got my new LLC in order. I got my employee identification number. I'll have a reseller permit again next week. I have business insurance. Holy moly. Randy Kraft, thank you for your time, man. How are you feeling? You all better? Hey, you have to stop. I'm not kidding. You have to stop. Okay? Sorry. Border collies are so hilarious. They just get bored and start licking things. Yeah, man, I hope you're well, buddy. Your eyes and everything okay? And mine are back to somewhat normal. I get a new prescription. I think I still have a little Marty Feldman thing going on. Like my eyes aren't perfectly lined up still. Well, thank you, Spruce Creek. Now, remind me where you are. I'm sorry. You told me your name and where you're located and everything, and I forgot. I'm sorry. Can you refresh me on that? And you want some amps, right? Not really. The eyes are close to healed, but there are other issues. Oh, man, I'm sorry. We should talk on the phone. I'm sorry, buddy. I am so sorry. It's going to be all right, I promise. You're in Maine. That's right. Yeah, of course. Spruce Creek makes sense. So anyway, we're going to hopefully get a build going soon of just a small build. 10 or 20 little Elvises, 10 or 20 stone ponies. I'm actually thinking about making a few of these because I love this amp so much. It just closed me down. I'm sorry. Yeah. What makes a great speaker cabinet, says Basil? That's a good question. There are a few elements to a speaker cabinet that are non-negotiable for getting high quality sound out of it. One of which is you use good wood. Slows you down. I know what you meant, buddy. That's okay. I use what they call triple B birch. It's not furniture grade, but there's no knots or voids in it. It's solid. It's plywood, but there's no knots or voids in it. So it resonates like a drum shell. And that really adds a lot to the sound. So you need really good wood, and you have to spring for it. There's no cheap way around it. Unfortunately, I wish there was. If there was, I'd do it. But there's not. And then you need good joinery on the wood. So you can either do finger joints, like this, or dovetails. Dovetails, I haven't really noticed that they sound any better than finger joints. Finger joints definitely sound better than butt stacked, where they just nail boards together. Now, the thing about having it butt jointed like that is it does make it bassy because it's woofy and loose. It's not solid. So, like my cabinets with the finger joints all the way around in the high quality wood, it's literally like a drum shell. It resonates in sympathy with the note you're playing. It complements it. Whereas if you use cheap wood, it's just, and then if you butt joint the cabinet, you'll get more bottom end out of it, but it's not clear bottom end. It's just thump, which some guys like. It's fine. If you're doing drop D and heavy metal, that's perfect. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not my thing. And then lastly, you have to use high quality speakers. There's no way around it. And right now, there's not that many guys making great speakers. Celestion, of course, is the 800-pound gorilla. Rick Skillman took over Eminence, and they're changing things a lot. And I think that's going to turn out really well. And then there's, the smaller guys like Warehouse Speakers and people like that do a good job, but they're really small. So that's more for direct to consumer kind of stuff. If I needed to order 300 speakers from them, I think I'd have to wait for a while. Or if I order 300 speakers from Celestion or Eminence, I just send a truck to go get them. Celestion's warehouses in Long Beach. I just go down and pick them up. They're there right now. You know, like if I make the order today, right now, 1:05, I can go pick them up by 2 o'clock and be back here by 3:30 after loading the truck and sitting in traffic. So anyway, that's it, Basil. There's not much to it. There's no secret sauce, and there's no unknowns. You know, no one has any great um, secret. One of the things you can do if you have a cabinet that you like is just copy it. The 412 that we made that Scotty has, the slant version is a copy of my 69 Marshall cabinet, my 69 Marshall 412. And it had finger joints, and it's down to the millimeter copy of it. The other one we made is basically a Vox 412. Which I also really like. I had a Vox 412 at the shop, and everybody said, man, we got to make one of these. It sounds so good. So Scotty has all those. So, yeah. Did that answer your question, Basil? So anyway, we're going to make some amps here soon. I should be able to ship them hopefully like June. Takes a minute. We got to build some prototypes. We got to, you know, I'm legal now, which is good. I thought that was going to take longer than it did. And then we got to run some prototypes and, you know, stuff. So we'll be shipping, I hope, in June. And Spruce Creek, did you want some amps in your store up there? You want like a little Elvis and a Stone Pony? It's a good start. You can just buy one if you want. I don't care. Michael Branson says 65 112s give so much to low powered amps. I've had the fortune to test them side by side. Yeah, so what we do on our combos um, and our extension cabinets, we have a tuned port in the back, and it's the length of the width of the cabinet. And we did a whole bunch of different sizes until we went, oh, that's it, right? So I had a cabinet manufacturer make me a bottom plate of different sizes. I think in 1/4 inch increments, we made like 10 of them. And, you know, some of it, the gap was this big, and I think our gap is 4 5/8 inches or something. We really tuned it, and it took some time, but it adds a lot of bottom end. Makes a little 112 sound big. Michael Branson says, what I want is something that has pop and kick in the chest, not just loud, but an oomph. Do you know what I mean? I do. Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to get oomph at low volume. Part of that kick in the chest is the physicality of the air moving, you know, my stuff gets a lot of bottom end. If you want to go even further, you know, the heavy metal guys make cabinets that are a little more thumpy, but they're butt jointed, you know, so they don't sound quite as clear. It's a trade-off. If you're playing with a whole lot of gain, it just doesn't matter. You're not going to tell the difference between my cabinet and someone else's. There's also, you know, pedals. You get a clean booster with a depth control on it, and you can add some bottom end. Also, you're limited by the frequency response of the output transformer on the amp. Like most of mine go down to about 70 hertz, which is not really that super low. It's guitar, fine. It does everything a guitar will do. But you know how when you run a guitar into a bass amp, those output transformers go down to 30 hertz, 40 hertz, stuff like that. And you'll hear a little more bottom end. You hear some low harmonics. Michael says, I've been told that a 50 watt amp is needed because of the power. Yeah, you know, you're getting into the, like, I want my cake and eat it too thing, which I have the same problem. You know, with the other prototype amps that, you know, where I'm taking them down to 3 watts, they have all the bottom end. I'll bring it back. We'll play it again next week. But it has all the low end down at like 3 watts. But there is only so much power you can take, right? You know, you can't play it inside. Haas and William Paul. Let me get to you. Haas, I wonder if the adhesive makes any difference. Like Tight Bond Original or Cascamite Dry Harder and have less creep than Tight Bond 2. There's a lot of conjecture about that. I use, on the Tolex, I use what they call hide glue. It's an old natural glue. And because it doesn't stifle the wood. Tolex is going to stifle the wood. Anyway. So if you use like 3M, really modern sticky adhesive, it will stifle the wood. But man, we're talking about really small shades of gray here. I've had guys arguing about, oh, the grill cloth really changes the sound. And it doesn't. Like if you have a thick grill cloth, that just means you turn the tone knob up one number. Or if it's too bright, you turn the tone knob down. It's no big deal. William Paul says, more power is not always better. That's true. We're trying to get into making lower powered amps that have some cojones to it. Well, William, my email address is danboul@me.com. Yeah, I've tried using the 3M adhesive. It works fine. On a head, obviously, it doesn't make any difference at all. But on cabinets, it can do a little bit. Oh, right, Adam. Okay. All right. Sorry, I wasn't putting two and two together. William, you were trying to reach me. I'm sorry. If I didn't ignore you, that's for sure. But Dan Boul, here, let me type it on here so you can see it. Because you're on YouTube, or some of these guys are on YouTube. The problem is the Facebook guys can't see the YouTube comments. And the YouTube guys can't see the Facebook comments, and the Facebook guys can't see the YouTube comments. I'm also all over Facebook, Messenger, and Instagram, so feel free. And I'll have the 65 amps domain. I have that back now. There was some issue with that for a long time. I've got the 65 amps domain back. And you will see, I wear suede. Sounds warmer than Tolex. I swear suede. Yeah, Basil, if you want to cover your amp in suede, go ahead. But William, get a hold of me. I'm sorry to be hard to get a hold of. I'm not trying to be. But pretty soon I'll have my domain completely back up, and my old email address of Dan@65amps will be back up. But right now, just use danboul@me.com. And I will get back to you, or hit me on Facebook Messenger. I'm online all day, either with my phone or my computer. I have my phone right here on a stand. Half time, I just hit the little microphone button and voice text into it while I'm working. So tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. Anyway, I do got to run. These are good questions, though, guys. Thanks. So it seems like some of you guys are interested in speaker cabinets. So Rick Skillman recommended the DB77 speaker to give a nice bottom. I don't know that speaker, but I know that Rick is changing that company. He was the president of Celestion USA. He went over to Eminence, and he's changing everything there. They're really turning things around for the better. It's really good. Thank you, Adam. Looking forward to the next two. Yeah. Just wrote you on Facebook. Okay, cool. I'll jump on. Oh, I see it right there. I will jump on after we're done. Let's see what is this something you don't want me to talk about on the show? Or? Jamie Loney says, I'll definitely be interested. Okay, cool. Yeah, man. As soon as I have amps, don't worry. It won't be a surprise. You guys are know it. Let's see. Message request. There you go. Ah, you're a producer. Okay. Yeah. I want you to buy amps. We'll talk, though, for sure. Hi, Bjorn. Yeah, we're doing good. I'm just getting ready to sign off. I got to run to a meeting here in like 15 minutes. So, William, I'll get back to you. It won't be immediately. I need to get some lunch. I'd slam some food really quick and get to a meeting I'm going to be late for anyway. But you're a producer, right on. Where are you? We'll sort all this out, William. I appreciate the reach out, though. Thank you. I'm sorry I was hard to get a hold of. I didn't realize it. Yeah, not on purpose. I swear. um, anyway, doing good. I saw you were on. Talk later. Yeah, Bjorn, I'm almost finished. You can look at the recording if you want. Played the Marquee again today. Did a Les Paul, Gretsch, and a Strat. My Relic Strat with the Jason Lawler pickups, which I think are soon to be changed to Ron Ellis 64s. Anyway, I do got to run. I'm sorry to be short. I have a lot of people go, oh, you should do the 2.5 hour Joe Rogan thing, and just keep it going. I need to get guests lined up, I think. And listening to me talk for 2.5 hours even makes me nauseous. And I'm sure you guys. I got to talk with Les Paul, right on. That's nice. Yeah, I met him too a long time ago. Just did a handshake. Very special. Michael Branson, along with some swag too. Neon signs. Yeah, I'm going to have shirts. And I know what happens to your sign. What happened to my sign that was at Guitar Res in Austin? They're not in business anymore, are they? Guitar Resurrection? That was such a nice store. And I'm blanking on the owner's name. Jim? What was his last name? Nice people. Really nice people. Nice store. Everything. But I think they're long gone, right? As long as they're, yeah. Yeah, I'll have swag. Don't worry. You guys will all be wearing your 65 gear, man. And for whatever his name is, I forget his name. He's always asking me about keychains. We'll do the keychains. Don't worry. Anyway, I got to run. To be continued. We'll answer all these questions again next week. I'll bring the prototype back. We can talk about bottom end. Yeah. Well, I'm sure somebody wanted to keep it there. But I'll show you bottom end on the prototype with two 6L6s at 3 watts. It sounds. Well, let's do the whole show at 3 watts. Now I got to adjust the gain structure here on my stuff so you can hear it correctly. But there's plenty of bottom end. It sounds really good. Jim Lehman, that's right. Thank you, William Paul. Jim Lehman. Yeah, that's right. I forgot his last name. I'm bad with names. Even I have family members where I'm like, hey, buddy. You're Betty's kid, right? Thank you, Hoss. You too. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And your contributions to the show are always great, Hoss. Thank you. So anyway, I'm going to run. I love you guys. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And it's all crazy times right now, but everything's going to be okay. I promise. And we'll talk about it next week. Anyway, sincere best guys. I do love you. See you soon.